Welcome back in, everyone, to CUSA All Access. It has been a minute, but rise and shine, we're back. And I'm with Willie and David for another week as we dive into all CUSA sports. How are we guys feeling?
I'm feeling great, and we've got a lot of stuff to cover, so I'm excited.
Feeling good. I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. As Willie said, we have a lot of stuff to cover. Let's dive right into it. First of all, we'll dive into soccer. Congratulations to the FIU Panthers for winning the Conference USA title and getting a bid into the NCAA tournament. Looking at this bracket before, when it just got announced, how do you think you guys looked at it? Do you think it was a cakewalk for FIU, or was it going to be someone may give them a run for their money?
Well, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I really think it was FIU's to lose. I mean, they had 8 all-conference selections, including the Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and the Coach of the Year for the conference. So I really think that it was their tournament to lose.
Yeah, they've just been rolling all season, so I think it was definitely theirs.
Yeah, it was definitely theirs to lose, and it was a cakewalk. MTSU gave them a solid run for their money as they didn't score till the second half, and then off a corner kick, which was kind of shocking because usually they're pretty good at defending those corner kicks. But regards to the other side of things with Jacksonville State and New Mexico State, that was more of a scrappy little dogfight. How'd you guys see that play out rather than what it actually did?
For New Mexico, I didn't really expect them to come out with the offensive firepower that they did, but they were carried by Loma McNeese in their victory against Jacksonville State. She had 2 goals and an assist, so she really stepped up big for the Aggies in that one, and it worked out for them there.
Yeah, and New Mexico's goaltender just had a great game. She had 7 saves, and they just couldn't get it by her.
Yep, definitely. Great goaltending game there. But if we look on the other side of things, that MTSU and Sam Houston was literally a shootout as it went to penalty kicks, and who other than Labarge to send the MTSU Blue Raiders to the semifinals, and that was a bit of a somewhat of a shocker that it went that far. But on the MTSU side of things, they definitely had the advantage going into those penalty kicks. Did you guys think it was more of a lackluster offense that MTSU showed, or was Roden having them play more of a protective side of things?
I think it was absolutely, they were playing scared and protective. It was a defensive focus, and it was just, we'll have more success not letting them score than we'll have success by us scoring.
Yeah, and Sam Houston had trouble offensively as well, so but MTSU was just able to get it done in the shootout.
Yep, they definitely were. And with that, we have one more game so far as of right now in CUSA soccer, and that is the FIU Panthers will travel to Auburn and in the NCAA first round tournament and face them on Friday. We'll get to your picks later, but how do you guys think this is shaping up so far?
I think FIU has gotten a great chance because Auburn is a 6th seed in the tournament, and as we can see in the large bracket style NCAA tournaments, usually those 12 versus 5, 6 versus 11, those are the more prone for upset. So I think Florida International could really make some noise.
I've got to disagree. I think that FIU's done great all season, but I think that going into play an SEC team it's a different matchup. I think Auburn will take it.
It's definitely a different matchup, and it's going to be probably it's going to be their toughest matchup of the season. But like you said, Willie, we kind of get a little March Madness early, a little November action. So that's going to be a fun one to look forward to. But that will, after that FIU game, we're hoping they go far and make Conference USA proud. But after that, the soccer season comes to an end. So it's been a wild ride, but that season is closing its book, closing the page, and we're now on to volleyball, and it is getting spicy. We're heating up. We have one more weekend. That's it. We got one more weekend, and we find out who's in, who's out, who makes the conference tournament. 8 teams make it. 7 teams are currently in. 2 teams are on the bubble. Great weekend of Conference USA volleyball this weekend, and just overall, guys. This is definitely best part of volleyball, best time for volleyball, and it's heating up, and we kind of get to see who has the real grit to, push it farther, and who's that absolute dog. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think you said it best, that the games are just the best when it really matters the most. And I've been paying a lot of attention to this bubble race between Florida International and Louisiana Tech. They're in a fight for the 8th seed, and Louisiana Tech recently got the tiebreaker after sweeping Florida International. They're 2 games back, and with a sweep this weekend, they find themselves in that 8th seed with a date in the tournament. So I really think that just, if they can step it up this weekend and win those 2 games and get lucky with Florida International, it could be a really interesting weekend.
That definitely will be. And that game's at Florida International.
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe
so that's they're going to bring the atmosphere, and that's going to be a fun one to watch. David, this weekend it's high heat, it's do or die. What's one game you're looking at?
I also had the LA Tech game. I think that LA Tech will win both of those matches, and I think that they'll get in there.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a fun one to watch. And previously, we've had some good ones. Middle Tennessee and Kennesaw State split the series at 1. UTEP and UTEP swept Liberty, and then WKU swept Sam Houston, and New Mexico State also swept Jacksonville State. Out of those previous games, that kind of shook up the standings just a bit, especially on the bubble watch. WKU is first, then it goes UTEP, then we look at New Mexico State, Kennesaw State, then Sam Houston, and then MTSU, Liberty, FIU, Louisiana Tech, and then Jack State to round out the standings. So from what we saw, kind of a little shake-up, and kind of some teams got thrown in the blender and tossed around in the standings. How are we feeling after the performances that we've seen these last couple weeks?
After the last few weeks of volleyball, the one thing that has stood out to me is just the dominance of Western Kentucky. After sweeping Sam Houston this weekend, they have reached 90 straight Conference USA wins, and that's just not something I can really fathom, to be honest. It's quite the milestone, and it just shows the dominance they've had, and it really makes it feel like it's a fight for second place at this point.
Yeah, to add on to that, UTEP was on a dominant run until Western Kentucky went to face them, and they swept them at home. And so I think that just shows the dominance.
Yeah, Western Kentucky, they have that dog in them, and the dominance is there, and it's kind of, in my opinion, it was an eye-opening for UTEP. Like, oh, we're not really as good. And those 90 conference wins is a milestone. But that wasn't the only milestone, as MTSU's junior, Adriana Rhoda, picked up her 1,000th career kill last two tournaments, 2 matches ago, and that's a big accomplishment, especially as a junior to do that. There's only been 13 people in Conference USA, including her, to pick up that accomplishment. So with that being said, that's kind of a high note, and it's helping MTSU, keep going on that roller coaster of games. And there's a big matchup this weekend at Alumni Memorial Gym at MTSU against New Mexico State. It's not big for standings wise because both teams are in, but it kind of changes up for seeding as well as motivation going into this tournament. And one bad play, one bad game could leave a bad taste in your mouth and change it up, change your mentality, change your momentum up for this tournament. And how do you guys think this one's going to shape up?
I think there's going to be some extra motivation for Middle Tennessee this weekend because it is their senior day on Saturday, the second match of the series. So, especially for the seniors in that program, that's not a game they want to lose. So I think there's at least a split in Murfreesboro this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're a really good team, but I think Middle Tennessee will split it with them.
Split it. That's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch standings wise, and how the wave works out going into the tournament. But volleyball is coming to a close, and so is football, and college football is coming to a close somewhat. And how do you guys think the football season shaping up?
It's been a really interesting year for the Conference USA with a newer member in the Conference, Liberty, as the premier member with dynasty-wise, I would say. And on a national scale, you look at them as the main contender for the college football playoff, and they have just flushed every chance of that down the toilet in the recent weeks. So it's just and then seeing newer teams come up like Western and Jacksonville State and kind of show some dominance and try to replace what Liberty's done.
Yeah, Jacksonville's dominance is what stood out to me. Their rushing attack's just been crazy this season.
Yeah, Jacksonville State's rushing attack, and they've been tested against the line. But do you guys think WKU is running away with this?
I think it's closer than everyone thinks, not only between Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State, but there's Liberty and Sam Houston State sitting with 1 and 2 losses, ready to strike in case one of them slips up. So the conference race in football is much closer than everyone thinks.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville State has a matchup with WKU coming up, and I think that they could give them a run for their money.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, especially how that Jacksonville State game ended last Saturday. That was a drama definitely occurring. But so word occurred that TJ Finley is back and healthy for the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, but Holden Beltkamp will continue as the starter. Shocker to you guys? Not shocker? How is this one shaping out?
I think it's an obvious decision. Veltkamp's been named to numerous watch lists for the quarterback position, and I don't think there's any reason to switch up what's been working for Western.
Yeah, we talked about it a few weeks ago, and just after TJ Finley went out, Veltkamp came up and he showed out, and so it's not a surprise to me.
Yeah, not a surprise there, but little surprised that once that got declared, we haven't heard any news on TJ Finley's side of things, whether it was I'm entering the transfer portal or I'm staying to, compete. That's definitely interesting, especially how this transfer portal is nowadays, and that's a whole nother business to go into. Other news coming in is Kennesaw State, first year in FBS, got a huge win against Liberty, and they didn't get to rush the field once. They got to rush the field twice, and when it's that big of a win, you can rush it as many times as you want. But they ended up firing their head coach, and that kind of was a shocker because they lost to UTEP in overtime and double overtime actually, and they were looking on the up and up after that Liberty win, tough loss against UTEP, and they were struggling, but it was their first year in Conference USA and in the FBS level. So do you guys think that was a impulse decision, and do you think it was smart?
I think it was a terrible decision, honestly. I think impulse is a very correct word for this situation, and because Coach Bohannon had multiple playoff appearances for Kennesaw at the FCS level, and the minute they move up to FBS and there's a sign of struggle in the most difficult division of college football, you leave your guy. It boggles my mind, and the way they did it's even worse because the athletic department came out and said he resigned, and then he came out on his own and said, no, that's incorrect, they fired me. It's just a PR nightmare for Kennesaw right now.
Yeah, that was interesting, and I think that kind of ruins the reputation that the AD and Kennesaw State have with regards to hiring a new coach, because now it's like, wait, you said this thing, but it was really this thing, and a little bad blood there, and it'll be interesting how they go forward.
Yeah, I just think I was just baffled with how terrible they handled the situation, and it's just he built up the program, and then like Willie said, once they felt struggle, they cut him, and then they tried to play it off as if he resigned.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kennesaw State was 7th in the standings. They weren't dead last. They were on the up and up, and it was an impulse, and I think it's going to come back and bite them. But the double overtime game I want to cover for football, and that is the UTEP beat Kennesaw State 43-35. It was kind of like the show of the Battle of Neh. Both teams aren't great. Both teams aren't gutter teams, but they weren't. It was the game of average. And how did you guys think both teams showed up?
I think UTEP was propelled by the return of quarterback Skylar Locklear. He had a great day, going 28 for 33 with 327 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and then 8 rushes for 30 on the ground. After having to start true freshman J.P. Pickles last week and just a really lackluster offensive performance, I think having their guy back really gave them some juice and ultimately pushed them in overtime.
Yeah, it did. David?
Yeah, I think what stood out to me was that Kennesaw threw 2 interceptions, and that looked to bite them in the butt on the way back.
Yeah, their quarterback kind of didn't seem all there. Like he was, I don't know whether it was tired or something, that he was kind of like, and maybe it was because Kennesaw still was on that hot, winning high of beating Liberty, which currently was the number 1 team in the conference, and then they aren't anymore. And that was definitely shocking. But the other one that I want to cover is Jacksonville State beat Louisiana Tech in overtime, 44-37, and Conference USA got put on the map twice in one day. MTSU made College Game Day with their veterans helmets, and then Pat McAfee retweets the Jacksonville State Louisiana Tech overtime score and says Jacksonville State is a team to worry about. What is your reaction and take on that?
I think Pat's correct. They can beat you however they want, whether it's in the air with a improbable Hail Mary like that, or they can just run you to death with whoever they want, however they want, whatever side of the field they want. They are going to run the ball. They are going to get into your linemen, and just they're going to run it down your throat.
Yeah, their offensive attack is just off the charts, and I think they'll make a playoff push.
They'll make a playoff push, and after that, that's definitely going to be interesting. The 12-team playoffs, there's one group of 5 team that makes it. Kind of looks like Boise State's running away with it. But do we think a Conference USA team could sneak in there?
I think it would take a lot to go wrong for a Boise State or an Army for a CUSA to get in there, because Jacksonville State's sitting at 2 losses, Western's sitting at 2 losses, I believe. So there's going to have to be a lot to go wrong for them to get in. But that's not saying there's not a chance. If they keep doing what they've been doing, keep up winning, steamrolling, it's not impossible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not impossible, and it's going to be an interesting one to look at. And from the last time we met together, and there's been quite a lot of games. Out of all those games, which game kind of like stood out to you? Whether it was stood out to you as a factor of that was a great game, or was it that team didn't really play to the standard that they should have?
As much as I want to say Kennesaw protecting home field and beating Liberty, I think Jacksonville State beating Liberty means more to me at this point. It felt like a real changing of the guard in the conference, and Jacksonville State's taking over as the dominant force in Conference USA, and a 10-point win, it really proved that.
Yeah, I think that the Jacksonville State overtime win against LA Tech was a big one, but I think more so for LA Tech because they were down several times during the game and they were able to come back, but then they eventually lost it in overtime, but forcing the overtime I think was big for them.
Yeah, forcing that overtime. To me, in my opinion, FIU picking up that win, 34-13 over New Mexico State, was a little bit of an eye-opening for New Mexico State, and I think FIU came to play, and that was the big thing, is they were shocked by the game that FIU brought, whether that was both running and airing out the ball. Just the offensive scheme was put together great by their OC.
Yeah, and especially from wide receiver Eric Rivers, he set the program record for receiving yards in a game, which was previously held by Colts legend T.Y. Hilton. Rivers went for 11 receptions, 295 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and for total, they had 338 passing yards, so Rivers really carried the offense that night.
Yeah, he did. But are you sure you're reading that right? Not Phillip Rivers?
Yeah.
Okay, Eric Rivers, good.
Yeah, I think that just New Mexico giving up the 330 passing yards was just too much to overcome.
Yeah. And New Mexico State has a tough one in 2 weeks against the Blue Raiders at home, and that's going to be a fun one. They're both not looking bowl. Currently, they're both not bowl eligible, but they're both looking like they aren't going to get that bowl eligibility. And so that's kind of going to be let's see who can end their season well. That's going to be a fun one to watch. There's some good games coming up for football. Out of the volleyball season heating up and the football season heating up, which do you think has more flair for Conference USA?
Volleyball's a tighter race, I feel like, with just at the top between Western's dominance and UTEP having a program-changing year. But it's hard to not pick football in any conference, no matter what. And with an exciting change of the guard with Western, Kentucky, and Jacksonville State showing real promise, it's really exciting to be a football fan in CUSA right now.
Yeah, I think those big plays, like the overtime forcing Hail Mary that you mentioned, Pat McAfee retweeted. I think it's the big plays like those that you don't get in volleyball that makes it more so, that gives football more flair.
Yep, those big plays, and they come at perfect timing. Like, the college football script writers can't do it any much better. It's getting a little chilly out, which means it's time for basketball season, and they've started back up. And currently, the standings are on the men's side of things. You have Liberty, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, then Sam Houston, UTEP, FIU, WKU. It's definitely early. They haven't started conference play. They don't start conference play till the new year. Teams are still getting blended and getting their feet wet, but and sometimes they even have tournaments where they go face bigger teams. Out of those standings, who kind of is, whether it's a shocker, like they actually may be really good this year, or well, they were projected this level. Why are they playing down here? So, what do you guys think?
I think Middle Tennessee has had a very good start, an eye-opening start. They went to Abilene Christian and really took care of business. And that road win jumped them about 30 spots in the KenPom rankings, which have become the, kind of premier statistic looking at the tournament bracket. And so I think it's just been a really good look for Nick McDevitt and the men's program at Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, that team, they've just looked really good over the past couple games that they've played.
Yeah, they definitely have. And in my opinion, I think Sam Houston and UTEP are kind of like, whether they may be getting off to a slow start. They're kind of like falling off, where I kind of expected them to give more teams a run for their money than they actually did. And that's going to be interesting if they're able to pick up the pace, and especially when conference play comes around. On the women's side of things, Louisiana Tech leads, then it goes MTSU, New Mexico State, Sam Houston, UTEP, WKU, then Liberty, FIU, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State. How, out of those, what's eye-opening? Good, bad, ugly? What are we thinking?
It's weird to not see Middle Tennessee in first place for the women's rankings, and I think we'll see a statement from that team tonight as they travel to Knoxville to take on the Lady Vols, and I think that will really tell just where they're sitting as a team right now, because last year they went and took care of business, beat Tennessee at a neutral site, so let's see if they can do it in Knoxville.
Yeah, I think the Lady Raiders are looking really good in their matchup against Grand Canyon the other night. They were looking a little slow in the first half, but then they hit a buzzer beater 3 before the half, and they just came out fast after that, and they just took care of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. They got off to a little slow start, but they're saving. I think they're going to save energy for conference play and then turn it back up. I am a little surprised how well New Mexico State's playing. They have a great power forward, and they are really they have the ability to really control the paint and pass it around. So that's kind of a little shocker from what we saw last season to this season. Even though they didn't pick up too many new players, there's not too many new faces. They had really good ability to control in the paint and pass it around and control the offense more. So basketball season is just heating up, and we can dive more into that next week as well. And now it is time for our letdowns. David, go first. Who is your letdown in Conference USA?
So my letdown is Louisiana Tech. Their whole season has looked like that one Hail Mary play in that game. 5 of their 6 games have been one score games. They've had the opportunities, they just haven't been able to capitalize. And so that's my letdown. I think that they could have had a good season, but they just haven't been able to make it happen.
My letdown is Middle Tennessee. It's the third straight time I've talked about Middle Tennessee. I'm sensing a trend here, but with new coach Derek Mason, SEC experience, big money, big check, big expectations. They were projected to go 6-6 from ESPN's Football Power Index, and the pieces were there between an older quarterback with Nicholas Vadiato, an SEC receiver transfer in Amari Kelly, Holden Willis doing his thing, what seemed to be a stacked running back room, and just they've fallen apart between injuries, transfers, and just the ball not rolling their way. It has just been a rough year in Murfreesboro for football.
Yeah, it really has, and that's one of the biggest things in Murfreesboro is that running back room has crumbled, as well as that line, both defense and offensively, is not where they expected it to be, and that's definitely shocking. And for your letdown, David, and I kind of could see it. Where Louisiana Tech has had some good games, but they've fizzled off. And that's a great point that you brought up, how that Hail Mary pass was basically the summary of their season. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you're so close, but you can't grasp it. And for my letdown, it's going to be the Liberty Flames football season. It has been a lackluster season. Started off good, predicted to run away with the conference, and then a loss to multiple losses. Big loss to Kennesaw State. That kind of shook things up, and then the performance that Caden Salter has had is unbelievable. He is picking up rushing yards like crazy, but his passing game is way underperforming than what they projected, and that kind of is a little shock to me.
Yeah, it's been strange, especially with what seems to be a solid receiver room, but I feel like it comes down to a coaching staff thing in Lynchburg right now for Liberty, because it is a wonderful running back room. They pick up rushing yards like nobody's business, but it doesn't mean you have to go away from the passing attack. Salter's a great runner. Quentin Cooley's a great runner. And that's great. But that should set up more passes. It just hasn't, and it's really made them one-dimensional and puts teams like Kennesaw State in a position to where they can keep themselves in a game and compete with what's supposed to be a higher-tier program, Liberty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that Liberty, I think that they were more than happy to get an opponent like Middle Tennessee, who has struggled with their run defense the past couple games. But Caden Salters did have a good game. He had 15 pass attempts for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns, but they ran all over Middle Tennessee, and I think they were more than happy to see that.
Yeah. I think Middle Tennessee had one of their best first halves that we've seen in a while. besides the Tennessee Tech game, that game definitely was the best first half they've had. But this game definitely was up there, as they started off strong and they were definitely high-powered. On football standings, as it is wrapping to a close, we have 4 teams bowl eligible: Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston, and Liberty. 9 teams are still not bowl eligible. We know Middle Tennessee can't, Kennesaw State can't. Do we think Louisiana Tech has a shot at being bowl eligible?
No, I really don't think they do. Even with more of a weaker schedule coming up, they haven't shown an ability to win in close games. And at this point in the season, you are who you are.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we'll see if they give up any last-second Hail Marys, but I don't think that they'll make it.
Yeah. So then, I'm kind of with you guys. It's they have a strong game until the fourth quarter, and they just fizzle out, and that's definitely the reason why they're not up there. Is if they had a stronger fourth quarter, and a lot of these games have been lost 1 or 2 points. That's it, 1 or 2 touchdowns, and if they had a stronger fourth quarter, I believe they could have been up there with Jacksonville State and Sam Houston in that 2 or 3 conversation. For the volleyball, 8 teams make the bubble. 2 teams are in the bubble. 8 teams make the conference tournament. And who do you think will make the bubble, or in the bubble makes the conference tournament?
Well, the bubble's down to Florida International and Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's 2 games back with 2 games left to play. So as long as Florida International splits this weekend, it's theirs to lose. So I really think Florida International makes the tournament.
Yeah, I think that Louisiana Tech may be able to win their series and kick FIU out.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's FIU's to lose, but I don't be shocked if they just blow it this weekend and end their season right then and there. So it's time for picks. It's picks, and we're gonna start off with soccer. One game here for soccer. We have FIU at Auburn on Friday night, first round of the NCAA tournament. Who do you guys have?
I think it's Auburn. I think Auburn by far. FIU had a wonderful tournament, a wonderful regular season in the CUSA. And as much as I want them to continue to succeed with what they've shown us, I think just seeing a different level of play that is in the SEC from Auburn, who, you know, they're not the dominant program in that conference, but they are a good program. They are a solid program, and I really think it's going to be a punch in the mouth.
Yeah, I think that, like Willie said, they're not the most dominant in the SEC, but I think that the SEC is just a different type of game than CUSA. So I think that Auburn will take it without much trouble.
To both you, as one of the greatest pickers in college football says, not so fast. Give me the FIU Panthers. They just have a strong offense, and especially with Naomi, who's won the CUSA Player of the Year against Middle Tennessee. We were at that game, and she won. She put in a hat trick just in the second half, and they have some great outside wings that definitely are able to tighten in that Auburn defense, and I think FIU will kind of stun the Tigers, and we get a little drama in the soccer tournament. On to volleyball. we have Louisiana Tech at Jacksonville State.
I think Louisiana Tech gives themselves a chance. I think they sweep Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State has been one of the worst volleyball teams in Division I, and I don't think that changes this weekend with something on the line for Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, I agree. I think that LA Tech's going to sweep them, and I think, like I said earlier, I think they'll sweep them and kick FIU out of it.
Yeah, I think Louisiana Tech has more to play for, and Jacksonville State is kind of like a rest period for them. Give me Louisiana Tech to sweep. Liberty at Western Kentucky.
Western's going to get wins 91 and 92 for their conference win streak. Liberty's a good team, but they're not that good. So give me Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I've got to go Western Kentucky to sweep as well.
Yep, Western Kentucky, no doubt, easy sweep there. Sam Houston at FIU.
FIU has been ice cold. They've dropped 4 straight games, including an out-of-conference match with Florida Gulf Coast. But with so much being on the line in a postseason appearance, I think they're able to squeak out a split.
I think that Sam Houston's going to take it. I think they're going to sweep them.
Yep. And even though it's at FIU, I think they're on the downhill slope and they don't have enough motivation. Give me Sam Houston to win. Kennesaw State at UTEP, rapid fire.
UTEP.
I've got UTEP sweeping.
Kennesaw State. I think they have they're up and up and they're looking good. New Mexico State at MTSU.
I think it's a split. MTSU will win on senior day.
Yep, I've got it a split as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a split. MTSU will win on senior day, and they're still regrouping from the Kennesaw State match. Football, Liberty at UMass.
As much as I want to give UMass the upset, I don't think the Minutemen have what it takes to douse the Flames. So I'm going to take Liberty.
Yep, Liberty's had some trouble in the past several weeks, besides their dominant win over MTSU, but I think Liberty's going to take it.
Yeah, I think Caden Sauter gets back up to the level we expect him to, and with the passing game, and he's going to run all over UMass and give me Liberty. Louisiana Tech at Western Kentucky.
Western's been super hot, and I don't see it slowing down against a lackluster Louisiana Tech team.
Yeah, I think Louisiana is going to continue what they've been doing, and it's losing. So I think WKU is going to take it.
WKU will take it for me, but I think Louisiana Tech will give them a run for their money in the first half. FIU at Jacksonville State.
I've got the same idea as I did with Western Kentucky. Jacksonville State has just been too good this year, and I don't see it as a slip-up game.
Me neither. I think that Jacksonville State's going to take it easily.
Yeah, I have Jacksonville State just running it down their throats. Sam Houston at Kennesaw State.
The Kennesaw State athletics department right now is in shambles, just with the whole handling of firing Coach Bohannon. So I think Sam Houston State picks up an easy win right now.
Yeah, I think they'll be too worried about fixing their PR situation. So I've got Sam Houston taking it.
Yeah, give me Sam Houston, and I think that air game is what is going to be Kennesaw State's downfall. New Mexico State at Texas A&M.
I'm going to take the Aggies. To be specific, the Texas A&M Aggies. It's a tune-up game for them after a lot of big SEC games, and New Mexico's doing a lot for their athletic department this weekend.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M is going to take it easy.
Yeah, give me Texas A&M. So that will do it all for this week on CUSA All Access. Next week, we have a show here. It will be our last of the semester, and we will bring in the guy who started it all. Dylan Simmons will be back in here for a short little bit, and we'll talk some ball with him, and we'll see how the games played out, especially with the volleyball season coming to a close. Let's see how FIU does, and football season wrapping up. So with David and Willie, I'm Devin Lockhart saying so long, and until next time, where we have all your CUSA action. Have a good day.